Crazy you say that. I mean, I've been thinking about this for a while. Hey, would you mind holding on for a second? Okay, guys, I'm super busy. I got a lot of meetings today, but it's really important I still get this in. We're going to be doing an experiment today. We're going to be calling 5 different accounting firms. Think the big national firms like 1-800-ACCOUNTANT, all the way down to the small CPA firms. And we're going to ask them the same question. What do you cost? Now, before we start, here's the rules. I'm going to be reaching out to 5 different accounting firms with the exact same business profile. HVAC and plumbing business, doing $2 million a year, 12 employees that I just recently purchased. And I know what you're thinking. This isn't a gotcha video. I'm not here to embarrass anybody. I'm simply going to ask them the question, how much does this cost for my business, to highlight the customer buying journey for someone like you who might be wanting to buy an accounting service.
1-800-ACCOUNTANT, this is how can I help you today?
Hi, my name is Hunter, and I just kind of new to the business scene. I just purchased a business and just trying to get a feeler out there in terms of, kind of what you all offer, but more importantly, what the cost might look like in terms of, accounting, bookkeeping, taxes, maybe even payroll.
Yes. So we are a full-service firm. We work with small companies. We do everything you just mentioned. We have CPAs in each state. Our pricing structure is a little bit different than a traditional firm because we don't have hourly rates. We use flat fees. And then there are different levels of service that we offer. It ranges from about $1,000 a year to $10,000 a year, but nowhere close to what you'd pay at a firm billing you by the hour. If you had tax filing, preparation, advisory, plus a bookkeeper doing the financials and a payroll person, that's probably about $5,000 a year. If you have a bunch of employees, that might go up, but that would cover you in the beginning. Each additional employee is about $40 a month. We're about 40% less than the national average, and we have more experience in this price range than anywhere else. You don't have to worry about paying extra every time you need to talk to the accountant or get a report. Other firms might make you put down a retainer of $1,000 or $2,000 and then bill $500 or more above that each month. It's hard to project.
I will be, doing some shopping, but it's good to know from your perspective, and I appreciate that you kind of shared those ranges so soon. You too, man. Thanks. Wow, that was so interesting. There's so many people that work with 1-800-ACCOUNTANT, and now I think I understand why, right? They are very quick to getting a price out there. They obviously have the traffic or people calling them, so they have the ability to do that. But I was very surprised that they didn't ask more details, information up front. And maybe that's why they are so big and they have so much volume. No, that doesn't necessarily make them a good service, but it's really interesting to see how fast they throw out a price. They're trying to get you in the door, and then my guess is they're going to adjust accordingly at that point in time. And if it is truly going to be between that $5,000 and $10,000 mark, I think that's a little low for adequate support. You're getting a full-fledged bookkeeper, a CPA, and a payroll person service for that cost. It screams too good to be true to me in this particular case, but nonetheless, I applaud him for mentioning it up front and at least giving me a perspective. The next option is an online tax service. You might have heard of them, H&R Block. I'm going to reach out to them and kind of get a good understanding as to what they offer, or maybe what they don't, and hopefully what the price is.
Leaving a message for a tax pro will get you the best service possible.
Hopefully the second one picks up. These damn H&R... Oh, there's a cop right there. That's fun. You got bigger fish to fry, hopefully.
Thank you for calling H&R Block.
I recently purchased a new HVAC business. I'm more so just trying to compile a general range. If at all you guys do bookkeeping, how you guys go about payroll.
Do you have a service called Block Advisors for small business taxes and services?
Sounds like I need to give Block Advisors a call.
Our office is unable to answer your call.
New client, talk to someone, human. Operator, human. Somebody I could talk to.
Please hold while I transfer your call.
Good morning. Thank you for calling H&R Block Office Support.
I have a new business owner specifically, and I just kind of wanted to inquire about services and a price range.
I may have info as to pricing if it's just like tax filing. They do offer bookkeeping and payroll, but that's like an appointment, so I would have to make an appointment for you for that.
Okay, and yeah, there's no price range on that, though, is what you're saying.
So there's no price ranges listed here for bookkeeping. It'll be with the tax advisor that I actually work with.
Okay, so that's all dependent on, having an appointment, meeting with someone, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes.
So that was interesting. I called a specific office, didn't get a hold of them. Called another specific office, got a hold of them. was just put onto their personal tax side, which is understandable. I think that's their bread and butter. They do have a business side, which I was then given a phone number for. I called that phone number, kept asking for a human, actually was given a human, but he could not give me a price range in terms of what that looks like. Someone tells me that those bookkeeping and payroll prices are probably unique to the franchise owner in whatever location that is, but definitely not super easy to get in front of the right person to even get a gauge in the first place. You got to almost accommodate them in terms of coming to their location, sitting down and doing that. Can they get the job done, the technical filing? Absolutely. Are you going to receive the best service with it? I don't know. I can't answer that question, but I can be skeptical nonetheless. So now we're going to call what I would refer to as an annual tax accountant. Their business model, if you will, is doing as many business tax returns as they can. Now, they might offer payroll. They might offer bookkeeping as well.
Hi, you've reached. This is a.
I recently purchased an existing HVAC business. I'm kind of new to the world of like taxes, bookkeeping, and payroll. And I just wanted to kind of reach out and get a rough sense as to what you guys do, kind of like a range of prices.
For just reconciliation, it's about around $80 a month. That covers stuff like statement downloads, QuickBooks matching, classifying transactions, setting up assets, depreciation, things like that. We also help with year-end planning, like say you've got some extra cash in December, you're wondering, okay, do I buy equipment now or should I wait until next year? Keeping your books current lets you actually make those kinds of decisions instead of guessing.
I guess the only other question I have for you is in terms of the payroll cost and then just like the year-end tax filing.
Every business is a little different. Like I've got a client with weekly payroll, right? That runs about $285 a month. That covers weekly pay, monthly reconciliations, quarterly payroll, tax returns, plus the annual filings like unemployment and W-2s.
Gotcha. So $285, that's bookkeeping and payroll.
And then your business tax return, that usually starts at around $500, but it really just depends on your entity type, LLC, S Corp, partnership, that sort of thing. So generally speaking, it's about $80 a month for bookkeeping, around $285 a month if payroll's included, and roughly $500 for the business tax return.
In terms of pricing, was very interesting. It seemed very low comparatively than like what else we've seen, but that's the reality of an annual tax preparer. Their business model is volume. They want to find someone like myself, charge them that cost, and then replicate that. How many can they do? Can they do 100? Can they do 500? Can they do 1,000? That is ultimately what you can expect when you're looking into it. It's not necessarily wrong, but if you're looking for more of like a true advisor, someone who's going to sit down with you, crunch the numbers, and be more strategic, I don't know if they're the ones that necessarily provide that to you. That's not me hating on this business. They might be the golden goose egg where they're able to provide both. But someone tells me that she's expanding, they're hiring more employees. That means to me that they are obviously growing, that they have a high volume of people to keep up with all this stuff. Overall, she was very nice, very helpful. She gave some price ranges. I'm in the office here and I wanted to take a quick phone call to a local CPA firm. Now, when I hear CPA firm, they're people that have tax accountants that have the CPA accreditation. They're not just EAs or just regular accountants. They specialize themselves in having a lot of tax specific knowledge. That's who I'm going to be reaching out to. Let's see if we can get that price.
Hey, this is
Recently just purchased a business and I'm kind of new to all this, and kind of my goal or my mission today is just kind of understand what a firm like you offers, and ultimately just like a ballpark of pricing ranges.
Congrats on buying a business. Tell me more about that.
Recently purchased an HVAC business from an older individual using SBA loan. 12 employees. They were doing close to about $1.5 to $2 million in revenue.
We work almost primarily on small to mid-sized businesses, and most of our clients are in construction, service, light manufacturing. Yeah, actually right where you're at, what you're talking about.
I guess, the $1 million question here, and I won't hold you to it necessarily is, but like, let's just say, I want to be hands off in terms of, I want you guys to do my books. I want you to do the tax filing, ballpark range of fees. You have any idea you can give me?
On pricing, yeah, that's always the big question. It's hard to say without seeing documents. If you sent me your July bank statement, I could get a feel for the transaction volume. That'd give me a good idea of the bookkeeping side.
On the tax side, with about $1.5 million in revenue, I can probably estimate that part, but bookkeeping, that's always the wild card. Normally, we bill hourly, but if we had a better sense, we could maybe work out a monthly setup. Just to give you a ballpark, our bookkeepers bill at about $120 an hour. Firm average is closer to $250, that's the range. We can be as hands-on or hands-off as you want, depends what makes sense for you. And honestly, shop around, talk to people, make sure you're making the right call.
Whew. That was that guy knew his stuff, right? You can see by the early part of the conversation, he's asking me questions about what I'm saying to confirm who I am. Now, thankfully, I passed the test. After a while where I thought he was not going to give up any pricing at all, he did give it up. $120 an hour for bookkeeping, $250, which was my understanding for like the tax return side of things. This is where a firm like that, a CPA firm, typically operates and how they can be really lucrative. Every month, roughly, they'll bill 6 hours, $120 an hour for bookkeeping, right? That's 120 times 6. Well, they probably spend and dedicated at least 20 hours on the tax return, 250 times 20. I'm just using an example. But if you have something that pops up, if you have a question, if you have some things that you're curious about, well, now they're going to bill you either $120 or $250 an hour. That's not inherently wrong. It's just to let you know that they are very much approaching it like a lawyer would in this case. Their time is, in their words, extremely valuable. So if you are going to be reaching out to a CPA firm like this is something that you could expect. Okay, guys, one last phone call to make. No other than a monthly accounting firm, just like us. I'll be really curious to see how they stack up in terms of service offerings, pricing, et cetera, to see if they're in line with what we usually charge.
My name is. How may I help you?
I am a new business owner. I've been reaching out to people or firms like yourself just to kind of get a sense as to like what you offer and ultimately like a price range.
Definitely. So, yeah, the very first step is to answer a quick questionnaire to see if it would be like a good fit for you. And if so, I would then, schedule an appointment between you and one of our team members.
If I'm not necessarily ready to take an appointment yet, just because I'm compiling some answers, I don't take it there's any way I can kind of just like give you some more rough information about my business and you can give me like a general range.
No, since I'm on the admin team, I don't really know what the work entails or what the pricing would be. So to get a kind of ballpark, you'd need to meet with one of our professionals.
Is there any resources on your website that can kind of point to what it might cost? Again, I'm just trying to find a starting point, if you will. Just something to give me a rough idea.
Not for the cost, no. And as far as our procedure goes, it's more because we do block our time to work on projects. So at the moment, we are getting closer to the business tax deadline. So I know the person you'll be meeting with. He's currently reviewing returns.
I would have liked to, in a perfect world, gotten a price, but I completely understand and appreciate your guys' process. Thanks again, and appreciate your time today. This call was interesting because, yes, although they do monthly accounting, they weren't necessarily super invested in the idea of getting me over to their salesperson or whomever handles that at the firm right away. It's very important that they blocked out time to do certain things. This tells me that they will service your clients, but only set blocked out times. If you have a question outside those time periods, you might be in a little bit of a hurt box until that time has arrived. What I will say, though, is it's really important that when you're initially having these conversations with firms, and I recommend actually calling them versus just filling out a form for your initial spot, is you ask questions about, having the availability to chat now, or what would it look like, or what is this process? You maybe don't want it to be too super fast in terms of like, here's a price, let's get started today, because that's not really weighing in your full situation. They might not fully understand everything, but you also don't necessarily want to like have it take forever or not be treated as a priority is essentially what I'm trying to say. But you as the consumer, it's really important that you use these early stage conversations as an indicator of what the future relationship might look like. In terms of pricing overall, I was very surprised how the quote unquote self-proclaimed cheaper options were, very quick to explain pricing. I am surprised, but I'm not surprised because that is kind of their business model. I am surprised about how fast they were willing to quote in all these different areas without understanding and feeling the full business picture. In my mind, as a successful business owner, whether you do taxes or any other industry, you need to assess the work, build in your profit margin, and go out and do it. These smaller firms or these really big chains that just have pricing, they've built in a business model where they do make money. But without them assessing the work, it makes me really question as to what goes into that. So I was surprised about how fast they were willing to price without asking those discovery questions. On terms of the other firms, like the CPA firm, I was a little surprised. I guess I wasn't surprised in the sense of that they bill hourly, but I was surprised on how dialed in they were on all the necessary questions and how much they put into qualifying. They know how to boot out the incorrect people they're not able to help right from the get-go. So it was very evident who runs a more organized organization. Did you pick up my phone call? Did you answer my questions? Did you get me to the right person? Did you give me a price range? When it comes to like whether or not firms should really give up that price range, I'm not 100% set in stone that everybody should, but I do think, as a consumer, it's what people want to see, they want to hear. If you work with someone that from the get-go asks you the appropriate questions, can really understand your situation, and then give you the price, I think that's not only fair, but the right way of doing it. Now, as a consumer, if you go to an accounting firm and they don't give you a price because you're not willing to give them any pieces of information or at all, I don't necessarily think that's fair either. So like everything in life, it's a happy medium. Overall, my opinion is an accounting firm that understands your general demographics, your industry, your employee size, roughly how many bank accounts, credit cards, should be able to give you a range. But it's also fair to say that they shouldn't necessarily be 100% held to that range if some different thing flies into the picture. So now that we kind of covered all these different firms, we want to make it as easy as possible for someone like you to get that pricing range you're looking for. So what did we do? Well, we actually developed a pricing calculator. I know what you're thinking. How does this actually work? Well, it's pretty simple. We ask you some questions, we get to know you, we give you a pricing range. All these items that I was calling about today to get that price range, we remove all that. You can just go straight to our website and get the price range you're looking for right from the get-go. If you like this video, like and subscribe. We're going to be doing a lot more content like this, and I hope to see you in the next one.